Math, 10.6 fractions, decimals, and money. The learning target for today, I can write amounts of money in different ways. Move that out of the way. All right. In a decimal number, the decimal point separates the ones from the tenths, hundredths, and so on. Our focus today is going to be talking about money and writing them in different forms. So with money, the decimal point separates the dollars from the cents. So here's our place value chart. Ones here, all the whole numbers. If we're talking about money, we have our whole dollars to the left of the decimal point. Then we have the decimal point, and then tenths and hundredths. And this is where we have our coins. So whole dollars here, tenths, they represent the dimes, and pennies represents the hundredths. All right, get this out of the way. What we're going to do next is we are going to represent our money amounts using our decimal squares. So for the first one, let's represent one whole dollar. So $1 is equal to 100 cents. So if that's the case, then we need to shade in all of these squares. There's 100 squares here, and that represents $1 because $1 is equal to 100 cents. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, I'm running out of ink. It's okay. So let me see if I can do this very quickly. All right. There we go. Not the neatest, but it'll do. So that represents $1. There we go. All right, here. And now the next money amount that we're going to represent with our decimal square is 1/4. 1/4 is equal to 25 cents, or 25 out of 100, which makes, the 100 is equal to $1. So let's shade in 10, 20, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to show 25 cents. Shade all that in. Okay. There we go. Oh, maybe the very top one we forgot. So that represents 1/4. 25 cents. All right. Next, after the quarter, we are going to represent 1 dime, and 1 dime is equal to 10 cents. So that would be just one column like this. And if you wanted to, you could count each individual square, but believe me, every column has 10 squares in it. So that would be 1 dime. The next money amount we are going to model with our decimal square is 1 nickel, which is equal to 5 cents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 over 100. Okay, that would be 1 nickel. Can you guess what the last one is going to be? Yes, 1 penny, which is just one of these squares. Let me just color in this one, shade in that one. So that one little square, move it up so we can all see, represents 1 penny. Like that. All right. So today what you're going to do is, remember from the learning target at the very, very beginning of this video, our learning target was to write many amounts in different ways. So you're going to write them using decimals, and then you're also going to write them using fractions. So if we were going to look at $1, we can do it here. $1 as a fraction is 100 over 100. 100 cents over 100. Everything is covered equals 1 whole. To write this as a decimal, it would be $1.00. Like that. The quarter is 25 over 100. Or it's also equal to $0.25. Whoops. Like that. The dime is 10 out of 100, that's the fraction. And to write it as a decimal, $0.10. The nickel is 5 cents over 100. And as a decimal, it's $0. Who knows what the next digit is? Nope, it is 0.5 because we do not have any tenths. If it's over 100, we need to fill in 2 spaces after the decimal point. And then lastly, we have the penny. So that would be 1 over 100. See, 1 square out of 100. And as a decimal, it is $0.01. Okay. All right. And when we talk about money, boys and girls, we are using dollar signs and decimal points when we write with money. There's also another symbol that you can use to write money amounts, and that is the cents sign. But when you use the cents sign with money amounts, you are not using a decimal. No decimal. Okay? You only use a decimal when you are writing it with the dollar sign, not the cents sign. Okay, let's go ahead and do some examples of what you're going to be doing today for your work. So, all right. So here's a chart that tells us that we have to write down some information about money amounts. Coins, the fraction, the decimal, and the money amount. Let's start with, let's see if you can see these. Let's start with this amount that I pulled out. Let's see if we can do it this way so we can better identify the coins that we have. All right, we have 1/4. So I'm going to write 1/4 here. 1/4. The next we have, let's do the dime, 1 dime. And then we have 2 nickels. And 2 pennies. So boys and girls, you do need to know how to identify all the different kinds of coins. All right, so let's see how much all of these coins are worth. Let's see, 1/4 is 25, 35, 45, 46, and 47. So it does not make up a dollar. It is still a fraction of a dollar. So the fraction would be 47 over 100 cents. Right, the decimal would be, now it's in the hundredths place, so that means I have to fill in 2 spaces after the decimal point, so that would be 0.47. And how to write it as a money amount is $0.47. You could write it as 47 cents, but we're not going to do that today because we're talking about decimal points, decimal numbers. All right, so that is it for the first one. Let's do another example. I'm going to do that, get that out of the way, extend my line like this. All right, let's take this amount. So we have a dollar bill and some coins. Let me get them all out for you. 2, and here, and here. I hope you can see these clearly. Okay. So we have $1. $1 here. Let's see. Looks like we have 2 nickels. Sorry, dimes. 2 dimes. And 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies. 4 pennies. Okay. So it's looking like when I write this as a fraction, it's actually going to be a mixed number because I have 1 whole dollar bill here. So that's going to be 1. And then we need to count up our cents, the coins. And that would be 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 cents. To represent 24 cents as a fraction, it would be 24 over 100. Now let's go ahead and fill in the rest of this chart. Decimals, right? So it'd be 1 and 24, like that. That's the decimal. number, but if we're going to write it as a money amount, we need the dollar sign and $1.24. All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and we are going to do some problems similar to what you will see on your work today. Okay, so let's see if we can, let me get a marker. All right, find the total money amount, then write the amount as a fraction or mixed number and as a decimal. So you have to write your answer two different ways. Let's just take a look at what we have. Instead of real money, it's just printed on the paper. All right, it looks like we have a quarter, a nickel, and a dime, and 6 pennies. So 25. Oh, so when you start counting your money amounts, your coins or dollars, always I find it easier to start with the largest amount first, the largest value of the coin. That would be 25. So it's 25, 35, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be 46 out of 100. So there's my fraction. And then we need to write it as a decimal, 0.46. And actually, one more. We're going to write it as a money amount. There you go. All right, next. $1, and it looks like 4 quarters and a dime. $1, $2, and 10 cents. So let me just do it this way. $2.10, which is the same as $2.10 over 100. And I guess we can write it just as a decimal, 2.10. All right, then moving on. Number 5, write the fraction or mixed number as a money amount and as a decimal. So we need two answers. Money amount, 53 over 100, 53 cents. So dollar sign 0.53. And as a decimal, well, that's just 0.53 without the dollar sign. Number 6, 4 over 100, which would be, now remember, the denominator is in the hundredths place, so when you write it as a decimal, you need to fill in 2 places after the decimal point. So 0 here, and then 1, 2, 0, 4. So there's your decimal. Let's write it as a dollar, as a money amount, 0.04, like that. 100 over 100. Oh, that equals to 1 whole. 1. Let's write the dollar. It's $1, or it could just be 1.00. All right. Number 8. 1 and 22 100ths. 1 and 22 100ths. And as a decimal, that would be just a dollar sign and then the same thing. Number 9. 1 and 18 100ths. That is 1 and 18 100ths. And as a money amount, it's $1.18. Number 10, 1 and 70 100ths. 1 and 70 100ths. And then here it is as a money amount. All right. Number 11, you find 1 dime, 3 nickels, and 2 pennies on the ground. How much money do you find? Write your answer 3 different ways. 1 dime, 10, 3 nickels, 10 plus 15 is 25, 26, 27 cents. All right, here's one way as a fraction. Yes, as a decimal point, 0.27, and then as a money amount, 0.27. 3 different ways. Okay, let's see. Let's do one more on this page. Your friend has 3 $1 bills and 2 pennies. Your friend writes, I have 3.2. Is your friend correct? Explain. Well, no, because you cannot write money amounts with just the tenths place. You have to go all the way to the hundreds. So $1, $3, and 0.2.